Hello and welcome back. I wanted to give you an update on the Iranian conflict. It seems that Iran has struck multiple countries across the Persian Gulf, countries that are part of the GCC. This includes Dubai, Kuwait, Dubai again, Iraq, and these are airports, airport, Palm Harbor, Palm Hotel in Dubai, um, Arab Hotel in Dubai, Crown Plaza Hotel in Bahrain, Port of Dubai. They struck an oil refinery, a Haifa oil refinery, residential areas in Israel, in Tel Aviv, Israel, in Bahrain, and in Qatar. They have struck residential areas there. And a lot of these countries were not involved in this war. Again, they were not involved in this war. Iran struck them in retaliation for the Israel-US strikes. And now these countries are saying that they are ready to defend themselves if this happens again. They were not a part of this. France had a base that was struck. It was not France itself that was struck, but one of their bases that resides in one of these countries. This conflict is still going on, and overall, it's a terrible thing. I hate conflict and war and chaos and destruction. Personally, I hope it ends soon. It doesn't look like it will, but we have lots to get into. And as you might have noticed, these are civilian areas, 14 civilian sites. Most of the world has agreed that wars and acts of war and these kind of heated conflicts, they're to be done with militaries and between military bases. Attacking these places are their war crimes. Again, it's a horrible thing. In fact, here's a video. I have a video of a civilian area being struck. Let me move my guy. Let me shrink him down.
Brain has been severely damaged as a result of that. We are also seeing civilian buildings being hit, hotels in Bahrain
crazy.
and in Dubai, among those Dubai's main airport also being
horrible.
hit. I'm not sure if it was a missile or part of a missile that was intercepted landing on the concourse there. So there.
Trump says it could go on for 4 to 5 weeks. And from what I've read, there are Iranians with roughly 1 to 2 weeks worth of supply. So this could fare very badly for them. Hopefully there is some plan to get the Iranian citizens food and water. They were already suffering from massive water and food shortages due to massive mishandling of their economy due to the Iranian regime. Here we see core causes for water shortage, failed self-sufficiency policies for decades, excessive groundwater pumping, the water mafia. So they had their own water mafia. Aging, leaky infrastructure, extreme drought, climate change. Then they had food shortages, collapse of domestic agriculture because 90% of Iran's water is used for agriculture. The water crisis directly crippled food production. By 2024 through 2025, many rural villages have been abandoned because wells ran dry, forcing a pivot toward expensive airports. So overall, the citizens of Iran have had it very hard, and hopefully they're going to be able to be provided for. Now, I went over to Reddit. I don't normally go to social media and whatnot for exchanges and news, but I figured I'd get a more down-to-earth perspective than just reading statistics from news sites. And I read many stories of their desperosity over there, wanting for change because they have not been recognized by their own country, their own government. They have been horribly abused over there. So I pray personally for the lives of all the citizens in Iran who suffered at the hands of this oppressive and repressive regime. Um, War isn't good. Obviously, hot take. I know. This just in. War, not good. um, but, some people cheer for it and want it. Many Americans don't want it. Apparently, only about 27% from what I read were in favor of this war. About 40% were not in favor, 40 to 48. Then I'm guessing the rest were unsure or something along those lines. However, I think it is 84%. Let me check my notes. I have notes here. Yeah, 84% really didn't like the regime and wanted a regime change. And I've read stories how they were desperate for change no matter who it came from, whether it was from Britain or France or US or Israel. They didn't care. They just wanted the regime gone because of the massive abuse and human rights violations against them. Let's see, I think it's here. Iran massacre of protests demand global diplomatic action to signal the end to impunity. And impunity is basically when you get away with it, so nothing's being done. And for a long time, not just this is talking about the massacre that the Iranian regime held against its own people when they protest, killing tens of thousands of their own people. And nothing was done about it. But for decades, there have been massive human rights violations against their own people. The terrorist groups that the Iranian regime funded, is responsible for wars in that area, in Syria and Yemen, and these wars have led to the loss of lives of tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in these wars due to fighting, famine, sickness, and lack of health care because necessary healthcare facilities were destroyed, and overall, just hundreds of thousands of people have died. And it's the Iranian regime that is mostly responsible. And so that's why even while this conflict is highly unpopular in the USA, and for good reasons, I myself am not a fan of it. But we do see the Iranian people celebrating their freedom, and I hope they get it. I hope whatever regime is next is good for them. I want to show this video here. Oh, by the way, I can't play the music. It's just know it's the YMCA. So I probably can't really have the music in here. And you can see them dancing. Let me move my guy a little bit. Where's my mouse? There we go. Yeah, and you see them celebrating in the streets because of this freedom that they have. Yeah. So I can understand it after being freed from something like this. And moving on to what Trump wants with this, the objectives that he has in mind before he moves out. Trump laid out his objectives for what he wanted to achieve before we left. That being destroy Iranian missile capabilities, to destroy their navy, to destroy their capabilities to build a nuke, and also severing ties with their proxy groups. So that's quite a list, especially that last one. It will be interesting to see how they go about verifying that. And again, all of this has been very messy, very chaotic. No one wants it, but it very well might have been necessary. Iran has been a cause of global instability and chaos and death for a long time. It's even affected Ukraine in the Ukrainian-Russian war. Here we read, Ukraine has accused Iran of fueling global instability, specifically citing its role in the conflict with Russia. Down here we read, Ukraine claims Iran is supplying Russia with weapons, including, I don't know how to say that word, Shahid drones. Shahid drones used in the ongoing war. This support is seen as a major contributor. This support is seen as a major contributor to the international security threats Ukraine faces. So even all the way overseas, they're having an effect on wars, helping enemies of Ukraine and of just many people who don't want wars. They're inciting these wars. And while I know many people don't want us to intervene in issues overseas, I do not believe these issues would have stayed overseas for long. We have reports. Let's see, where is it? Okay. And we have these reports here. This is why I say this wouldn't have stayed overseas for long.
In that first meeting, both the Iranian negotiators said to us directly, with no shame, that they controlled 460 kilograms of 60%, and they're aware that that could make 11 nuclear bombs, and that was the beginning of their negotiating stance.
So we already see that they had enough materials to make 11 nuclear bombs. We also had, where is it? The Politico. Did I close the Politico one? We also have this report here. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our shores in America. So it seemed like it was imminent. And this is a regime that proactively shouts death to America, death to Israel, and supports this notion fully. If we would have waited, they would have been better prepared for attacks. If we would have waited to be attacked, they would have been far better prepared to defend themselves. There would be a much higher death toll than what has happened already. Again, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate war. I hate the death, the destruction. But this appears as though it was imminent. And we do have kind of good news, at least to a degree. 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman. Today they have 0. The Iranian regime has harassed and attacked international shipping in the Gulf of Oman. I'm going to call it Oman. For decades, those days are over. Freedom of maritime navigation has underpinned American and global economic prosperity for more than 80 years. The U.S. forces will continue to defend it. We were also able to take out their mullahs as they count votes for next supreme leaders. The Assembly of Experts, a body made up of 88 members, they were allegedly together in the city of Qom, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not going to pretend. When an airstrike hit their building overnight. This is the building there. And so it seems a lot of progress has been made. And apparently, the Israel has been planning this since 2001. They hacked into Tehran traffic cameras and downloaded his life patterns and processed it with AI before assassinating him with a barrage of 30 missiles. The CIA also provided a human source to verify the location of the Ayatollah before Israel struck. And that is just crazy. Yeah, so it seems like there's lots of good news. We've lost a few jets and whatnot, and unfortunately, I believe, let's see. However, we have also suffered losses. There were 6 deaths of U.S. service members who were lost in action, and additionally, 18 service members have been reported seriously wounded. There were 11 deaths in Israel, 10 being civilians who were killed during the Iranian missile strike on a synagogue. 10 civilians, 9 of whom were killed on an Iranian missile strike on a synagogue in Beit Shemesh on March 1st. And let's see. I don't know who the other one was. So there have been losses, and I pray for the loved ones of those people, that they will be comforted. And again, war and this conflict is not good. But again, this very well might have been something that was preeminent, that was imminent. We see what they have done, the conflicts they have caused around the world. They are responsible for funding terrorist organizations who were responsible for wars that have killed tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of people through violence, through famine, and other means. And what's more is there is a propaganda war as well. We see here military presence in civilian areas. This is their military hiding out in schools, hiding out in hospitals, because they know they're safer from missiles there, because if a missile strikes there, then they will use that to fuel outrage against their enemies. They use human shields to defend themselves and their weaponry. That way, if they're attacked with missiles, it's pretty hard to hit only those people if you are using airstrikes, if you are using missiles. And then when it happens and other people die, civilians die, they point to those civilians and say, oh, look, they're killing our civilians. This is a picture of uniformed officers who are sitting in a school courtyard beneath an Iranian flag in the image shared on social media on March 3rd, 2026. This is disgusting. This is cowardice. These are war crimes. You are not allowed to do this, because at least most of the world agrees that wars are going to be between militaries and will have nothing to do with the people. But they have no problems hiding in schools and hospitals to use as a part of their propaganda campaign. They have also killed their own people and then blamed other countries as well. On 2026, following a brutal crackdown in early 2026 that left thousands dead, with some estimates exceeding 16,000, the Iranian government officially blamed terrorist cells tied to the United States and Israel. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei publicly attributed the massacre to U.S. incitement. They also, in 2022, there was a protest, Women, Life, Freedom protest. Similar patterns occurred there after the death of Masha Amini, where they also lied about the facts there. There's a long-standing pattern of airing false statements and forced torture-tainted confessions to blame killings and injuries on non-state actors, says Raha Barini, a human rights lawyer and Iran researcher for Amnesty International, contacted in Geneva. This is completely contradictory to a mountain of evidence, including eyewitnesses, accounts, and dozens of verified videos, geolocated and chronolocated, that show security forces were the only forces bearing firearms, shooting into crowds, and relentlessly firing at unarmed protesters and bystanders. And this is what this regime has been doing for decades. They've been attacking other countries, they have been attacking their own people, and blaming other countries for it. So it's not just a physical war, it is a propaganda war as well. Overall, war is disgusting, violent, chaotic, messy. I would not wish it ever. But it looks like the threats were imminent, that they would have been heading overseas to us anytime, and they would have been better prepared to defend themselves. And the sooner this war ends, and I know regime changes have had a bad rep in the past, but this is a regime that strongly believes and holds to the slogan of death to America, death to Israel, and they believe it. Believe it when they tell you who they are. And the question is, how do you live at peace with people who want you dead? And maybe the answer is you can't. And I am a Christian. I do believe in living at peace so long as it is up to us. That is biblical. However, judging by their threats, their attacks, they've attacked and killed our allies. They have attacked our own ships. They have constantly worked towards developments to have weapons that can attack us overseas. So maybe this one isn't one where we can live at peace with them, because it wouldn't be up to us. And I do believe, as a Christian, that we have laws to defend the helpless, the poor, the weak, the needy, and to let people be hurt and killed, both overseas and, again, I do think war was imminent. I do think they would have brought it to our shores, and to let that happen here as well, I don't think that would be a good thing. I think that that would be hurting the innocent, the poor, and the weak. And again, it's brutal. It's not easy. It's not simple. It's not clean. I have no good answers to this, but I hope and pray that it ends soon and that casualties are kept at an all-time low. With that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and sayonara later. Peace out.